greatest TV show in space. Welcome. How are we all doing today?
I'm ready to dive into finding out who supports and thinks that Sub Rosa is worth it.
We got a
I just can't wait.
I, uh, I will not be in that camp, Carrie. I can tell you.
Damn it.
And I'm just glad to get through this batch of episodes because from
I was
here
gonna
on out,
say, these episodes are kind of stinkers.
Jake hates every single episode in this batch. Actually,
no, that's not true.
I can't.
That's not true.
Yeah. Because I also, when we talk about Lower Decks, I'll just say it up front. I think Lower Decks might be one of my favorite Next Generation episodes.
That was a good episode.
I liked Lower Decks.
But everything
yes.
around that episode. Was,
Yeah.
Well, now see, I've gone through the entire rest of the season now, so I'm looking back.
You're way ahead.
I'm way ahead of y'all, and I forgot how good the finale is, but that's another episode. All right.
Well, let's talk about some stinkers. I'm your host, Lieutenant Commander Rebecca Frost, joined by Admiral Kerry Jackson,
Hi.
Ensign Tony Potato,
Hello.
and Jake, who hates amnesia and body possession stories.
Oh,
hate them.
this is a batch for you, man.
Yeah, we got some doozies. So
Yes.
okay. For centuries, while I have been watching all of these Star Trek episodes, people have been reaching out to me saying, hey, is it true there's an episode where Dr. Beverly Crusher bangs her grandpa ghost? And I'm like, hey, I cannot speak to that. Well, now I can.
Now you can.
Because I have seen Sub Rosa, Dr. Crusher meets the man in her dead grandmother's life when she tries to put her affairs in order, whom one of the local people warn her to stay away from by not lighting a candle that has been lit for generations.
Madre Dios, the memes, they are true.
So the Enterprise visits a colony which recreates the Scottish Highlands, a terraforming project of the Federation. Imagine being in charge of a terraforming project and being like, you know what I really like from Earth? The moist dampness of the Scottish Highlands.
I like Scotland. I went there a couple of years ago. I thought it was rad as hell.
And I have been. It's a beautiful,
Yep.
beautiful country, green. I'd just bring the whiskey. I wouldn't bring anything else. That would be all.
So Dr. Beverly Crusher's very old grandmother is now dead and buried. Beverly attends her grandmother's burial service and notices a strange man who throws a flower into the coffin before it is buried into the ground. Captain Picard accepts Governor Marturin's invitation to stay and help repair the storm-damaged power supply. Hey, by the way, while you're here, could you just help us out?
Yeah.
We've got a little bit of a damage. Geordi and Data figure out that the colony's weather control system has a power surge and is causing high humidity over deserts and a local storm to build up in the middle of summer. Picard orders power transfer to weather substations on the colony, but some sort of feedback from the substation, blah, blah, blah. Literally nobody cares, okay? So Beverly's grandmother's best friend, Ned Quint, who warns Beverly against an heirloom, a candle, which has been in their family for several generations. And
Don't be lighting that candle.
What?
You Howard women and your candle.
There's some really good accents in this episode. What's this candle made out of that it can burn for hundreds of years?
hey, man.
Ectoplasm, I guess. I don't know.
That's what I'm wanting to know.
That candle brought nothing but bad luck to Grandma Crusher. Ned insists that Beverly.
Was it bad luck?
I mean, according to her journals, she had a rip-roaring
She
good
had a
time.
fine time.
Quite erotic, as Councillor Troy would say.
Yes.
Ned insists that Beverly get rid of the candle, but she refuses as it's the last thing that belonged to her grandmother. The town also warns her. The town, okay, warns her about the ghost of her lover Ronan, and in general, Granny's diary is extraordinarily explicit about this man.
She's a bunch of old lady porn.
I've found that when the town that you're living in Scotland warns you about a ghost, you listen to the townspeople. But
Oh, old horny Crusher over there, 2 houses down.
Yeah, she's banging a ghost. You should watch out for that.
I'm just saying, this is a tradition in Star Trek now, in a way, because in the original series, Scotty and Jack the Ripper's ghost
Scotty banged Jack the Ripper's ghost?
No,
He was possessed.
he was possessed by Jack the Ripper's ghost.
Maybe I should
But-
watch that episode.
But him being of Scottish heritage, you see where this
Oh,
is
I
going.
see. Yeah.
Yeah,
And it wasn't. Yeah.
It is a tradition in Star Trek to have a Scottish character.
But it wasn't just Jack the Ripper's ghost. It was like an entity that was pure evil. And
Yeah, because
and-
like Jack
yeah.
the Ripper wasn't like a person; he was like an entity traveling from planet to planet.
I have to tell Tony because he'll never go back and watch the old episodes. So.
This is
Tony, I'm telling you, original series rips, dude. It's so
He
good.
rips a butthole.
You rip a butthole. Okay, so Beverly's grandmother, in her journal, references Lava, even though she was like literally 100 years old, and she claims to have met Ronan just after Beverly's great grandmother's death. Okay, so Ned tells Beverly that the house is haunted, and if she lights that candle, it invites the ghost inside. He says that Ronan is responsible for grandmother's death. Ned says this, Ned says that. Ned says that Ronan is angry since Beverly's grandmother died, and that the and that he is the source of the storm over the planet. Beverly spends some time in the house she inherits, and so I guess the candle isn't the last thing of her grandmother's that she has, is it? She has a whole ass house.
Whole freaking house full of stuff.
A whole house. And she lights the candle, and then she has a pretty intense experience with the dream contact with the lava. Ronan says he is an original Scottish ghost born in 1647. Reading all of this, I feel like a crazy person.
I wish I could have been in the writing room for this episode. Everyone's just like, yeah, this is a great idea. Keep going. And then, yes,
Okay. For 800 years, he has been with the women of the Howard House, Beverly's middle name, and traveled with them when they moved out into the galaxy. And he, I did not read this before, so the IMDb synopsis. He ends up giving Beverly a ginormous orgasm.
Yeah.
Beverly, you're glowing.
She woke up needing a bunch of water.
Galactic.
I need
all
a
dehydrated
space
after
cigarette.
that.
Okay.
There's not a cigarette big enough for the Howard women.
All right. So Ned's warning starts to make sense, okay? But only after he got himself killed trying to sabotage the colony power. He somehow got inside the weather control stations. Beverly's autopsy says that Ned wasn't killed by the power surge. His residual anaphasic energy signature matches those from the weather substation, so whatever killed Ned is also responsible for the weather issues. Gradually, Beverly learns more about her virtual lover. Okay, here's the thing. Even if I did come across a very sexy, very, very generous, loving ghost, knowing it was with my grandmother and my great grandmother, no thanks. I'm not getting sloppy seconds from my nana. Okay,
Sloppy
over-
thirds.
I was gonna
sloppy
say-
thirds.
Well, it's over 800 years, so
Yeah.
it's more than that. Yeah.
Sloppy descendants.
Like at one point is it incestuous?
Well, there's no offspring born of the ghost human.
Are we sure?
Convergence.
It's more analogous, I would say, to a sister wife situation.
Yeah. I mean, who wouldn't want someone that could be a very generous lover when you go to sleep every night and you just have great sexy time dreams and you wake up and then you go about your day? What's the problem? I don't see a problem here.
I don't know. It's like a hand-me-down sex robot, isn't it?
If you got your grandmother's hand-me-down vibrator,
Yeah.
I wouldn't use it because that's not my thing. But maybe
if
Grandpa's
you
sex robot.
Tony, if you got a hand-me-down fleshlight that's been in the Eccles family for generations,
It's probably formed up perfectly for our genetic structure.
I don't want to talk about this with you. So Beverly is talking about her feelings with Deanna, right? And even Deanna's
She
like,
was into it.
She's a little jealous.
Yeah.
she,
This is what I'm saying.
Well, I
This
think
is
well
such a
at first
bad thing.
well at first I think Deanna's a little jealous, but then later the more Beverly talks about it, Deanna's like, okay, like settle down.
Get your groove on.
Get your freak on, girl.
Why you gotta brag about it so much?
How Beverly got her groove back, you know?
All right. So Beverly develops an addiction for this Ronin. I mean, what the orgasm's that good? He wants Beverly to light the candle, as it is the same source of power. It is some source of power for him. Beverly is totally in his control. She resigns from Starfleet and decides. You ever get a dick so good it makes you want to quit your job?
Well, not me.
Not you guys.
Can't say that I can relate.
Well, I'm not gonna
No comment
any further. Yeah, I did nearly lose my job once, though. I'll say that.
For a dick?
Not for a dick.
The head's so good. Carrie almost quit his job. Jeez, I hate everything that's happening right now.
I know,
So,
right?
okay.
This is a terrible episode. No
It's
doubt
just
about
terrible.
it. Just
Directed
real
by
bad.
Jonathan Frakes, by the way.
What?
Frakes did this.
Yes.
I guess they can't all
That-
be gems.
That also answers my a lot of questions too. I mean, that weirdo.
All right, so Beverly quits her job and goes to live at her granny's house, and that night Ronan merges with Beverly and gives her that orgasmic sensation again. Soon, this will be permanent. Meanwhile, Data and Geordi locate whatever, and it's found at Nana's grave. Okay. Picard confronts Beverly. I do love this interaction. Picard's like, can I meet this motherfucker? Like, can
Yeah.
I meet this guy? And so he asks Beverly why no one has seen Ronan except her. And so Ronan appears and hurts Picard when he finds that Picard has ordered Data and Geordi to exhume Nana's body and destroy the anaphasic power source. It was a flower that Ronan put inside the coffin at the funeral. Beverly is shaken out of her stupor by seeing Picard hurt and refuses to go with Ronan to stop Data and Geordi. She saves Picard, and Beverly realizes that Ronan is an anaphasic life form. Anaphasic energy is very unstable and requires a host to be cohesive. That's what Nana was, and now Beverly. The candle is plasma-based, and it allows for merging of the energy with the host. Beverly destroys the candle, so Ronan can't merge with anyone else ever again, and then destroys him when he tries to merge with her again.
I told you.
Oof.
I'm just saying,
The candle.
entities that are serial lovers and serial killers attached to Scottish Star Trek characters.
Yep.
Just saying.
A common
It's a big
theme.
thing, laddie. Common theme here in Scotland.
Mm.
All kinds of ghosties and their
And the other thing about this,
businesses.
the other thing about this episode is it made me think about the line from the Haunted Mansion: "Beware of hitchhiking ghosts." This was a bad episode.
I'll say it. Listen, I'll
I've
be the
got
first to say it. This is a bad episode.
This is a bad episode. I've got some statistics here. In 2016, fans at a Star Trek convention voted Sub Rosa as the 6th worst episode
I would have gone second.
of any Star Trek series.
But do you have the other statistic?
But then
about...
it was ranked 8th best romantic episode of Star Trek.
What?
noted for its exploration of sexual dreams.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, that's bad.
Although it does, to me, this episode redeemed that scene in Ghostbusters where Dan Aykroyd got head from a ghost.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, I thought that was bad, but no, this is worse.
All I think of is the song from Rent, "Would You Light My Candle?" That's
Hey, Dios mío. Some other names on the tombstones included Vader and McFly.
Yeah, I saw that. I was just like, come on, who are you guys? Come on.
Isn't that nice? Semi-related. I did talk about this on the Geekshow show proper. Shout out to our friend Charles O'Keefe because he posted a link to a trailer for the Next Generation porn parody. And if you know anything about me, I used to review porn parodies. And so I immediately ran to Pirate Bay and found myself a copy of the Next Generation porn parody.
Of course you did.
It's fantastic, you guys.
Oh,
like, these people
okay.
really care about the Next Generation.
Okay, so we know in the porn parody that Beverly gets it on with Picard, but does
Yeah.
she get it on with a ghost?
No. no,
Goes
no.
to
She
shit.
should have. She should
No,
have.
there's only so much time.
Opportunity lost there.
Yeah, there's only so much
I
time
believe
allowed.
there is this is how much they care about Next Generation and actually like produce a show. I believe there is a YouTube version with the sex scenes cut that tells the otherwise story.
Oh yeah,
Really?
for sure.
Yeah.
There's typically always the safe for work version.
Interesting.
If you, maybe I'll try to find it, post a link.
It's got to be better than Sub Rosa.
The
The only
I
episode I
did.
could think of that was worse than this one was the second to last or the last it was third to last episode in season 1 when Riker is in his coma and they do the freaking
Oh yeah, that's the season 2 finale.
That's what
yeah,
it was,
the
season
clip
2.
show.
Oh, that was
Hilarious.
bad.
Hilarious.
And I will maintain that Code of Honor is the single worst Next Generation episode.
That was
Which one is
Yeah,
that?
remind me what that one is.
That's where Tasha Yar is kidnapped to become a polygamist wife.
Man,
a
she gets it
planet
rough.
of Star Trek's future of non-racism was not on display in that episode. I will say.
Yeah.
Something else that I did learn
Remember that one.
from this episode, the title Sub Rosa is Latin for under the rose, an expression meaning secretly, as roses were displayed at Roman gatherings as a signal that what was said there was meant to be confidential. That's kind of fun. Otherwise, I don't know how that relates to
Well,
this nonsense.
let's can we just leave the ugliness behind us and move on to
Yeah, let's move on to
something
lower decks. A mission of the Enterprise is seen through the eyes of some junior officers who are up for promotions, as questions of duty and honor arise among some of them, such as a Bajoran whom Worf has designated to be promoted to operations. This episode, I think, maybe my favorite episode of Next Generation.
It's pretty good.
It's a good one.
really good.
So I don't usually read the titles before I watch the episode. I know where we're at and I hit go. And so like 5 minutes into this episode, I was like, this is Lower Decks. Is this what they based the Lower Decks cartoon show on?
Is this?
And then I realized later, oh, it's called Lower Decks.
Sam Lavelle, who is up for promotion, fears Riker has it in for him. Sam, Bajoran Sito, Vulcan Tarek, and human Alyssa are up for promotion. All of the ensigns have been given a test to evaluate their readiness for the lieutenant post. Sam and Sito learn that they are being considered for the same role in operations under Riker. Riker holds simulation drills to evaluate their performance at the operations console on the bridge and finds that Sito is 7% slower to Sam. Ensign Tarek, who is a Vulcan, is working with Geordi in engineering and has figured out a new warp field configuration which improves warp field integrity and engine performance. Nurse Alyssa Algawa has impressed the heck out of Beverly, and she is recommending her for promotion to lieutenant as well. Worf likes Sito as part of his security crew, and he reveals to Sito that he is the one who recommended for the operations role.
Mm-hmm.
And now the introduction of a new character, Ben, the waiter from 10 Forward, who we have never seen before.
I
Who's
don't
a
think
civilian?
we never see him again either.
Probably
Yeah,
not.
where's
I don't
this
think
messy
so.
diva? I need I need more of this messy diva.
I need more civilians. You know,
is he the only civilian they've ever kind of spotlighted on the ship? He's the only one I can think
That's
of.
not a child.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I was
not
gonna
a
say
child.
everything else
yeah.
is like a child.
Yeah.
So Ben encourages Sam to get to know Riker and not judge him due to his official demeanor. But it is a disaster when Sam goes to talk to Riker about Canada and Riker says he's from Alaska. This is I've been in
love
this.
that.
I've been in this guy's shoes though. Like because I get it. Riker as a superior would be super intimidating, right? Like I would be intimidated by him. So yeah, just go strike up a casual conversation. The ship is headed to the Agaya system near the Cardassian system, and the junior crew know nothing about it. They find an escape pod inside Cardassian space, and the ship is at the edge of the Cardassian border, and boost the power beam by 10% to beam the humanoid over to sickbay. Only the seniors are allowed inside the sickbay, while Sito is on guard outside. the whole premise of this episode of having it take place mostly from the eyes of the lower deck crew. I wish we had more of this in Next Generation. This was such a phenomenal idea and so cool to watch. Picard calls Sito for a meeting and wants to know if she considers herself a good pilot. She has been on the Enterprise for the last 7 months. Sito Jaxa is told by Picard that she shouldn't even have been admitted to the course after her cowardly conduct as Starfleet Academy cadet 3 years ago. As you may remember, she participated in a daredevil stunt in which one cadet died with Wesley Crusher. And instead of coming clean, she joined the other cadets and pretending that the death was due to an accident. And Picard says that she should have been expelled. He's so mean to her.
I remember when you watched this episode, you were in our Discord chat going, "How could he yell at her?"
He was so mean to her. I was baffled. I did not like it. Meanwhile, Beverly asks Alyssa to assist with a surgery on a Cardassian and orders her not to discuss anything with anybody. Geordi works with Tarek to intentionally put phaser blast marks on the shuttle's hull to make it look like it had escaped an attack. This whole time, Tarek he's piecing it together while they're doing it, and Geordi's like, "Hey, shut up."
Yeah. Yep. Quit thinking and just do what I say.
Just do what I say. I know you're smart, and it's pissing me off. Worf supports Sito for the operations position on the bridge, but Riker is not convinced about her. He also feels that Sam is too eager to please. Worf takes care of the close combat training, and he teaches Sito not to take unfair judgments without protesting. Worf's relationship with Sito, I loved. Oh my God, I loved it so much. That's the that type of mentor-mentee relationship. You love to see it. So Sito stands up to Picard and says that she should be judged on what she has accomplished on the ship and not at the Academy. And I'm like, yes, Sito, get it.
And that's when Picard pulled a, "I meant to do that."
Yeah. I was testing you and you passed.
If there is something, I think you guys know this. I hate being secretly tested, and I was again so pissed. Picard says that he was not.
Wait till the next episode too, because this is
oh my God,
frequent occurrence in this batch.
Picard says that he was not assessing her for a promotion, but for a mission. He reveals that the Cardassian rescued from the escape pod was Joret Dahl. He is a Federation spy who risked his life to bring information to the Enterprise that would save Bajorans in the sector. He needs to go back, but his own ship was destroyed. The Enterprise has prepared its own shuttle and fired on it to make it look like Joret had escaped from a firefight. Sito agrees to help as she is a Bajoran herself, and Joret risked his life for her people.
And it was brilliant that they brought her back for this.
Yes.
Because of the Bajoran Cardassian thing. Brilliant.
Such a good through line. So to cross the border, he intends to use Sito as a Bajoran terrorist to protect himself as a bounty hunter. Once across, she will be put into an escape pod and sent across the border, where the Enterprise will pick her up. But the Enterprise waits for 30 hours without any signs of Sito's escape pod. Data finds signs of debris that match the mass of a Federation spec escape pod. Picard announces Sito's death to the crew, and Sam gets promoted. Ooh, okay, so I have so many feelings. Just so many feelings. How could they do this to her?
I could watch an Ensign Sito show. I mean, I mean, I understand killing her was important to the story. It brought the weight. I get
exactly.
that. Mm-hmm. But it would have been kind of cool to have her go to Deep Space Nine or something, you know?
But also, I really love the introduction of the concept for a lower ranking officer person within Starfleet, because they don't really talk about this. I think of like, hey, when you are signing up, there is a huge possibility of death.
Yeah, you could die.
You could die. And she agrees to go along on this mission, fully aware that, hey, I might not make it out of this.
Space is disease and darkness and death.
And My heart exploded. This episode ends. I turned off my TV and I went upstairs and I was like, I felt the way I felt when I finished The Last of Us Part 1. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
just like my heart ripped out of my chest, and just some phenomenal stuff out of Star Trek.
and the actress who played Cedo, she hasn't done a lot. I mean, she's done some TV episodes and stuff, so maybe she's got something else going on in her life. But I would like to see more. of her.
She actually retired, and when they brought her back for the Lower Decks, there was an episode at the end of season 4 where they flash back to the First Duty episode.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And she came out of retirement after 10 years or something to do that record. She didn't have an agent. They hunted
her up
high and low. Well, they didn't know where she was. It took a lot of effort to find her
Wow.
and bring her back.
Interesting.
And
Which is
I do remember watching that Lower Decks episode, and the discourse around it was like, oh, this sounds like it's a pretty big deal. I cannot wait to like get to this part in Next Generation to like understand these characters more. But like, I do remember that episode being a big deal when it aired.
It's Mariner says straight up, this is why I'm like I am.
Mm-hmm.
Because she didn't deserve that.
And I don't want to have to order my friends to their deaths.
Mhm.
That's so good, you guys.
It all comes full circle.
Speaking of full circle and Easter eggs and that, in First Duty, there was an extra, African-American extra in the distant background with a hairstyle matching Mariner's that they retconned and made her Mariner.
Oh, that's cool.
Really?
Isn't
Yeah.
that fun?
Yep.
No idea.
So Ceto's death was intended to be ambiguous, leaving the door open for a possible return of the character.
Yeah.
The producers were considering a follow-up with Deep Space Nine, with a Deep Space Nine episode, which would show that she was alive and a prisoner of the Cardassians. According to Jerry Taylor, she received a number of letters questioning how Picard could have sent Ceto on a mission that could have resulted in her death. Many expressed disappointment by noting such actions were contrary to contemporary military standards. I don't know that that's the case.
No, people have to go on undercover missions sometimes, and they can be very dangerous.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
Picard was captured and tortured by the very Cardassians
Yeah.
a year ago.
There's
Yeah.
4 lights.
This is also the episode making me come around on the Cardassians, because we deal with one nice Cardassian Federation spy, and I'm like, oh, cool, okay.
Oh, just you wait.
I
Wait.
was gonna say 9 episodes and 4 movies from now,
Yeah.
you'll be back where you were.
Just give it a minute.
Yeah. Attention, Bajoran workers. Wait till you. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Also, Lieutenant Reginald Barclay was briefly considered as one of the characters featured, but was dropped for being too well known from his popular previous appearances. The production staff added in the civilian waiter Ben, so as to have a character who hitches aboard the ship for fun, who's unconcerned about rank, and who passes along stupid rumors. More of this diva, please.
There you go. He bounces from poker.
I love that.
poker night
Yeah.
to
Oh my
poker night,
God.
You know?
You guys, this episode was so good.
It was good.
Like, just so clever and just different from all of the other episodes.
Variety magazine listed it as one of the top 15 episodes of Next
gotta
Gen.
pop it higher.
Yeah.
Grumble,
Yeah.
grumble.
More Ceto. I loved her.
Who wrote it, Rebecca? Do you have that in front of you?
No.
Hang on. I've got teleplay by Renee Echeverria, story by Ronald Wilkerson, Jean-Louise Matthias.
Yeah.
But yeah. So there you go. The teleplay by
Got it.
Renee Echeverria.
Directed by Gabrielle Beaumont. Women. Let's go.
There you go. Well, that
Well-
was a fine episode, I think.
Just stunning. Stunning. More like that, please. But let's move on to some real bummer episodes. Thine Own Self. Data is sent to follow a probe that has drifted off course and crashed on a primitive planet, only to crash on the planet himself with no memory of any event prior to crashing on the planet's surface. So during a mission to repair a radioactive probe which crashed on a planet with a Renaissance culture, an explosion damages Data bad enough to cause amnesia. Amnesia in a robot. Okay.
I mean, there were some problems with the amnesia in the robot thing. You know, I mean, he remembers an awful lot of really fancy stuff, but then
doesn't remember what the word radioactive means.
Exactly, basic stuff. You know,
You're
like
telling me you've never
radioactive.
had a hard drive lose information? Come on now.
Oh, IT guy here talking.
I'm just saying, wipe the protocol droid's mind. That's what happened. Crashed on the planet.
There you go.
Yep. The Enterprise had left to provide medical supplies to a nearby star system and was supposed to return in a few days to pick up Data. After the explosion, Data stumbles into the Bakoran village without any memory and holding the radioactive container on him. But he doesn't even have basic language skills. Also, meanwhile, where's Picard? Because Beverly is on the bridge. Oh, it's the night shift. So Beverly's running the ship. And Deanna comes up to her and she's like, hey, so like you're a doctor, but you didn't have to be commander. Like, what's up with that? What's your deal?
Yeah.
And Beverly's like, well, I like being in command. I think it's fun. And Deanna's like going back and forth about whether or not she wants to take the test to become a commander.
And see, I liked this little B story with Deanna.
I did too.
I think
The B
quite
story
enjoyed it.
is vastly superior
I was
to
going
the
to
A
say
story.
it's better than the. Yep. better than the-
I would note my favorite part of that exchange is how Crusher's like, about 8 years ago, I decided to do this. So, you didn't see it on the show because it was right before the
It
show.
was right before.
Yeah.
Also, how many life parallels am I going to have with Miss Deanna Troy, right?
I was hoping you'd explain that. Because you
Yeah.
said that. I saw your tweet.
Because I have myself gone back to school. I have started school this semester, taken tests and stuff, and I just see a lot of Deanna in myself and a lot of myself in Deanna, and that's cool, I guess. It's nice to have your character on a show, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So back on the planet, Data is taken in by a villager, Garvin, and his daughter, Gia. Taylor is the village doctor and concludes that Data is an Iceman, which explains his skin color.
I love how sure of herself she was in every question that was asked
That's
of
right.
her. Oh, clearly, he's an Iceman. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You guys
come
didn't
on.
see that too?
What
His-
other answer?
Oh, he's got
See his
super
skin?
strength.
You
He's
see
got
his
super-
skin?
He's got
He
super
looks-
strength because Icemen have super strength.
He
because
looks
of all the
just like
creatures they
just
fight.
like Iceman in Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Square head and everything, yeah.
Taylor is a big proponent of the scientific and evidence-based deduction process. Data, who gets renamed Jaden by Gia, get the radioactive material analyzed by the local blacksmith. Oh my god. Also, the scene, so Data's got this briefcase and it says radioactive on it. And Garvin is like, hey, what's that? And he's like, I don't know. And they just pop it open. And I've watched Chernobyl. I'm like, oh no.
That's
You're gonna start melting on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
So they take it to get analyzed by the local blacksmith. It was taken out of the container since neither of them knew what radioactive meant. The blacksmith buys half of it from them to make jewelry, and Data retains the other half in case it provides any clues to his identity. Unknowingly, radiation begins to spread throughout the environment.
I love that the blacksmith's holding it after he pulls it. He's like, it's warm.
Ah!
This is probably good.
Ah!
I like that it's warm already.
Oh boy!
I love too, like the first piece they pulled out, just how he was holding it and the camera angle on it made it look like a Starfleet Delta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost expected him to start like sniffing it real close and give it a lick. Yep.
Oh,
yep,
we're
it's-
just,
it's
like-
good stuff.
What is he, like
We're-
Yukon Cornelius?
Exactly like you got Cornelius.
The prime directive rule breaking in this episode is through the roof, you guys.
Totally.
Data attends Gia's class with her and corrects her teacher Taylor when she claims that fire is an element by saying that she is quoting findings from cursory observations as scientific fact without any proper evidence. Before she's convinced of Data's scientific superiority by experiments, the nuclear material he carried has caused radiation sickness, and now Gia is also showing signs of the sickness. Data traces the origin of he traces the origin of the sickness to the metal that he brought with him. He creates his own laboratory, creates a microscope.
He
Guy.
pushes science forward in the civilization a century in like 2 days.
Prime directive. Who are you?
What I love too about that sequence that we just went over is that the blacksmith guy tries to cheat Data and his host
Yeah.
by saying, "I promised you a lesser amount," and Data's like, "No, you didn't. I have a photographic memory." And then it's not spoken of
Shut
again.
up.
Yeah.
What's a
Yeah.
photograph?
That whole thread is dropped. There's
No idea.
It's totally irrelevant from beginning to end.
So he starts, he observes that the illness causes extensive cellular damage. He convinces Taylor with his empirical data and then asks her to gather all pieces of the metal that he brought into the container. He says that everyone wearing jewelry made by the blacksmith built from the material that he sold is causing the illness. He also determines that the metal in the container stop radioactive rays from escaping. But the blacksmith is angry at Data and deems him responsible for the illness spreading in the village. He attacks Data, tears off his skin, exposing him to be a creature of some sort.
When are they going to give Data stronger skin? It's always getting ripped off and showing his little LEDs. You know what I mean?
They really should.
Like, he should get like duraluminum skin, or
For the same reason we can't have a
something.
warp core that functions correctly.
Well, and really, it seems oddly replicable. If he's
always-
this like
Yeah.
one of a kind android in the universe,
Mm-hmm.
but that he can get his skin at Costco, like
Well, I mean,
Kirkland brand.
Costco has
you gotta-
everything, Jake.
But you gotta
should
buy.
know
But you
that.
gotta buy a ton of it though. You can't
Yeah,
just
right,
buy,
right.
just enough.
It's
for your
gonna last
face.
you for years.
While they were there, they should have got her commander status from Costco as well. They sell that too.
Yes.
You have to earn that, Tony.
No, I got my law degree
you
at Costco.
just pay $75 more.
Exactly.
He just bought it. Yeah.
Just bought it.
So Data concocts some sort of cure, and he hides under the cloak, and he dumps whatever it is into the town's well, and cures the radiation poisoning. He administers it to Gia and Garvin, and since the villagers won't trust him, he decides to mix the formula in the town's water supply. The blacksmith kills Data with a spike, but not before Data mixes in the formula. A few days later, Riker and Beverly come looking for Data. I loved their just like random appearance.
Yeah.
And they meet Gia, who shows them where Data and the metal fragments are. They take him back to the ship. But also, meanwhile, while all of this is happening, the actual fun part of the story, Deanna is she's trying to take her bridge officer exam. She is motivated when she sees Beverly commanding the ship. Beverly put in the extra work to earn the rank of commander, even though this rank was not required for her. So Deanna tells Riker, "Hey, I'm going to take the bridge officer's test." And he's like, "Cool, you do know I'm in charge of that, right?" And she's like, "Yep. So is there anything I could do to maybe pass this test?" And Riker's like, "No, you have to earn it." That doesn't happen, you guys. I just made that up. And
I mean,
so
she could have tried, and he probably would have fell for it. He's Riker.
Yeah, he is.
So they're doing an engineering emergency test in the holodeck, and Deanna keeps failing. She has failed 3 times, and Riker says, "Hey, you're not cut out for this. Like,
This isn't
I'm
for
so
you."
Imzadi, I love you, but maybe this ain't it, girl." And Deanna realizes her mistake when Riker says, "My first duty is to the ship," and Deanna realizes, "Oh, I have to make some really hard decisions, actually." So she goes to take the test again, and she sacrifices Geordi to make an engineering repair. And Riker comes in, slow clap. "You did it. You passed."
That was the key to passing the test. Is you have to sacrifice a crew member.
Yeah.
Yeah. Little reminiscent of a Kobayashi Maru, as Deanna thought, "Oh, this is an unwinnable scenario." When actually it is. You do just have to be willing to kill a crew member.
LeVar Burton
needs-
of all people.
The needs
Jesus.
of the
Reading
many.
Rainbow.
or Ensign Sito.
Uh,
No, we'll kill Jordan.
I was to say that's the real question. Is like, do you have to send your chief engineer down to do this?
I was
Could
like,
you
"Hey,
send
is there a lower ranking
someone else that could get the
engineering
job
officer?"
done?
Where's that Vulcan from
Yeah,
last week?
where's
that
Tavik?
annoying kid go?
Or what?
Yeah.
Or what about Data? He might be able to survive the radiation. Why not send Data in? Just thought.
Because he's
Yeah, what the hell?
he's solving his own radiation problems.
It's-
But these were all
Holodeck.
these were all holograms. These were all
Right,
mixed.
right.
These were all fakies in the holodeck. But I guess that's not the point of
It's
the
not
test.
point.
No,
Yeah, it's
no,
not the point.
the hard decisions is what
Right.
the point of the test is.
All I took away was she picked Geordi over Worf. We all know Deanna's bias
right.
there. Anyway,
She
she gets
likes the
promoted.
ridges.
Love us for her.
Yeah. Now you were
Yeah,
wondering.
and not the 2 dicks that he has.
You know, she just hasn't mentioned it. Maybe she does like that too.
You were asking where's Captain Picard this whole time. I can tell you, Patrick Stewart was appearing in A Christmas Carol on stage in London while this episode was being shot. That's where he was.
Yes. This is also the last time that Riker is seen playing his trombone.
Thank God.
Is that a euphemism?
76 trombones and a big parade.
Tony, if it were, it wouldn't be the last time.
That's true.
Touche.
Womp womp.
That's true.
Okay, let's talk about the.
Before we jump to the next one,
Yeah.
I just noticed it and I can't unsee it now. Rebecca, your microphone looks like the candle.
Oh no!
No, I'll make it green. Do you want me to
Make
make
it green.
Hold
Yeah,
on.
change the color.
Is he in there with you right now?
Is the entity in the room with us right now?
You frost women and your blue microphones, they're trouble.
You shan't like
Yes,
that
shan't.
microphone.
Here we go.
Okay, thank you. That's
Hey,
that's
that's
a
better.
1,000 times better,
Wasn't
and I certainly can't unsee it.
There we go.
And now it's the
breathing.
flickering.
Flickering.
like a candle.
I gotta
Hold
get
on, I'll
me
make
one
it
of
go
those.
slower.
I like that microphone. I'm gonna
Something-
get me one.
There you
Yeah,
go.
it's. Wait, maybe confetti.
There you go.
That's
Yeah,
great.
have it.
RGB
Whoa.
Oh, so it's constantly changing color. I like that.
Yeah. It's spooky. Also, the town is being appropriately punished with radiation poisoning for naming him Jaden.
Oh,
Utah ass name.
I just thought it was funny how they were so worried that he was poisoning them. He dumps this stuff down the well.
He's doing it even more.
Yeah, what do? They just drink the well water
Drink it anyway.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Almost,
Oh, look,
almost,
everyone's getting better now.
almost like fluoride isn't bad for you or something.
The smarty pants doctor is just like, water's an element. He just added water.
Just
Yeah.
added other water
No.
to the water.
No big deal.
Okay.
I do want to note though that I think this was the one that Ronald Moore wrote.
Yeah.
It's an uncharacteristic miss for him.
Yeah,
Hey, listen, we can't bat 100. You know.
can't all be gems. And it even wasn't that bad. It was okay. It was an
was
okay episode.
But he nailed the B story, though.
Yeah, he
I mean,
did.
really.
Yeah.
That B story was very Battlestar Galactica. That was,
Yeah.
And I was really excited, Rebecca, a few weeks ago when we watched Liaisons and you mentioned in the trivia that they had the idea to promote Troy in that episode,
Yeah.
but they chose not to. And I knew this was coming, so I actually didn't spoil something. First of all,
Thank you very
Well done.
much.
Well done.
Thank you very much.
and I was just
Okay.
excited for you to see this.
I'm very happy for my friend Deanna.
She got her pip.
Masks. Investigating a rogue comet that's been traveling throughout the universe for over 87 million years, Picard discovers alien beings within the comet, which infest the computer systems on the Enterprise as well as Data.
This episode was so lame.
It sucked.
You know what would have made this episode better?
Nothing.
No.
If it didn't air.
If it was in the original series.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
the stuff.
That's-
the stuff. This is
that's
an
what
original
I would-
series
I
episode.
would agree. This felt very TOS.
Data
From the few
would have been
clips
Tony,
I've
you
seen-
can't say that.
From the few clips I've seen of TOS, this felt TOS.
Swap Data and Spock, and you got it. It's exactly.
So the Enterprise makes an astronomical study of an 87 million year old rogue comet. There is distortion within the comet's inner core, and it shoots an intense sensor echo. The Enterprise will complete the scan of the comet in 39 hours. But while all that's happening, Data's in a ceramics class, and Deanna is observing the ceramics class, and so all the kids are making little clay sculptures, and Data's like, here, I made this 100% accurate clay rendering of a data pad, and Deanna's like, what if instead you did something fun? And then he makes a music note, and she's like, okay, we're gonna try again later. And so that makes sense, because back in Deanna's quarters, some kind of sculpture has appeared, and she's like, oh, Data must have made this. Doesn't even question it. I would have so many questions if somebody broke into my quarters
Exactly.
and left a statue.
Yeah.
Well, he could have beamed it in.
I'm sure.
Well, and I like how Beverly's like, from Will? And she's like, not his
That's
style.
not his style.
But how many Horgons does that guy have in his quarters? It's totally his style.
Good point.
That's true. I forgot about the Horgons. Yeah.
So strange objects and images just kind of start appearing all over the ship, and Data decides to investigate further. Some kind of alien language has been downloaded into the computer's core. The reading started coming from the sensor array, which picked it up from the comet. Data starts to read the alien symbols to understand their meaning. Picard orders phasers to be fired to melt the exterior of the comet. They discover a ship-like construction, possibly the nucleus, which contains alien artifacts constituting the archive of an ancient culture. Data thinks this is an information archive of an ancient civilization, and the ship is made of several unknown metals and is 87 million years old. Data believes that he is in communication with the ship-like object, and Picard has got the biggest boner going on right now.
He loves old stuff.
He's like, what's this? Some kind of archaeological mission?
Yeah.
That's coming to me.
Good thing Picard is here. So soon,
Make the discoveries.
soon the artifacts start appearing all over the Enterprise. Picard and Riker try to figure out the meanings of the symbols. Blah blah blah.
The flag of New
Well,
Mexico.
What?
I was gonna say the New
Yeah.
Mexico flag.
And I love that he goes around the ship and collects all of them up and brings them to his office. He's like, yes, these are mine now. I will study them in here all by my lonesomes.
Who else amongst us is qualified to do all this stuff?
Meanwhile, the entire science department is like, yo, we're right here.
We want to scan these at least, man.
So Geordi connects Data to the ship's computers to try to analyze the symbols appearing on the consoles. And after being connected, Data feels as if he's losing his mind. And Geordi doesn't react appropriately in this moment, I think. Because Data's like, Geordi, what does it feel like to lose your mind? And Geordi's like, hey, that's a weird thing you said. I don't like that. Instead of being like, hey, actually, that's kind of crazy. We should investigate this immediately.
That's just Data being weird again.
That's just Data being weird. From then on, the aliens take over, possessing Data's positronic network to give him several of their personalities, including the talkative Ihat and the feared Queen Masaka. And I do love when Brent Spiner gets to do other stuff.
You mean choose scenery like a
Che-
Tyrannosaurus Rex?
I love that for him.
We have an explanation of that coming up.
Oh.
Data's positronic net is now carrying 14 different alien personalities. Ihat tells Picard that Masaka wakes up and spreads death. And Ihat's character, very Q-like in his
Like it.
personality.
I'm watching it thinking, oh, he's the trickster god of their
Yeah.
pantheon, you know.
I also like how his chocolate bar superhero emblems change with each character.
That's how you know. That's how you know he's
Yes.
someone else.
Ihat tells Picard that Masaka wakes up and spreads death. Only Corgano can stop her from spreading the destruction. Ihat tells Picard to leave as soon as possible. A tractor beam emerges from the alien ship and contains an energy beam inside it, and the Enterprise loses all its control systems. Alas, the energy beam also transforms matter and even genetics aboard, so as to turn the ship into a city of their civilization and style. It starts the transformation from 10 forward onwards. Picard cannot launch photon torpedoes as they have been transformed into a nest of snakes. Ooh, spooky skelly. Picard resolves to stop that by understanding and playing the key alien characters. 20% of the ship is transformed and the ship has lost propulsion and weapons. Geordi has managed to access the archive by sending an energy pulse back along the signal path. He works on locating the transformation program within the archive. Picard speaks to Ihat and learns that to trap Masaka, he would have to build her temple using her sign. He gets the sign out of Ihat and Masaka's father, two different personalities instead of Data, so Brent Spiner is really stretching his limits here. But Ihat warns Picard that Corgano is not chasing Masaka anymore, and only he can stop her. So Geordi hacks into the transformation program of the ship, transmits the temple symbol. This converts one deck of the Enterprise into Masaka's temple. Data converts into Masaka by donning her mask and sits on the throne of the temple. Data made a fun mask in ceramics, by the way, and crazy how it's coming into play.
Chekhov's mask.
Chekhov's clay mask.
There you go.
Picard figures out that Corgano and Masaka are interchanging rulers of the civilization, and apparently now it's Corgano's turn to rule. Masaka refuses to recognize Picard or speak to him as captain of the Enterprise. Picard asks Geordi to put in Corgano's symbol, and the program returns to Corgano's mask. Picard dons Corgano's mask, and he figures Masaka
Which happens to fit perfectly molded to his face.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it's
fits
perfect.
like a charm. Yeah.
It's like Jim Carrey's The Mask. He figures Masaka's the sun, Corgano's the moon, and their rivalry depicts day and night chasing each other. Picard uses this understanding to convince Masaka to start the chase again. She agrees, disappears. Everything's fine. This sucked. This was so
Yeah.
stupid.
So by the time we got to the scene where he's trying to get information from Data, and Data's like being the old man and
Yeah.
everything, I completely tuned out after that. I just left the show running and
Well,
went and, you know, and did other things.
Even
Yeah.
Brent Spiner himself is embarrassed by this episode.
He said this was one of his most difficult acting assignments on the series.
He also said that he had no time to prepare. They just handed him the script. And he says, let's see, some of the most preposterous acting you've ever seen in your life. The other actors were laughing in my face.
I mean,
Yeah. But this episode would have fit in perfectly in the original series.
Yeah.
You could have
that's-
easily have done it. It's cheap. It's all on the ship. You know, you wouldn't even have to have a floating Aztec temple. It'd be a flashy light. You know, you could use that same flashy light that they always use. But then you just bring in plants from the Paramount lot and, you know,
Rubber snakes.
rubber snakes in a torpedo and have Scotty go, you know.
this
It
was
would have
written
been
by
great.
someone named Joe Minoski. Shame on you, Joe Minoski. This was terrible.
Traditionally, one of the better TNG writers, though.
What was going on with this segment of the season?
They were all having a
where
bad
these-
day.
Yeah, everyone was swinging and missing.
Or was it we got to fill 25 episodes and that kind of
Yeah.
thing?
I will say even more kudos to Brent Spiner because it was back-to-back Data episodes, which is
True.
very rare on the series that they give anyone, you know, a featured role 2 weeks in a row.
Michael Dorn cited this as his least favorite episode.
Really?
Is
Isn't
he
that
even
nice?
in it?
No, like barely.
I was gonna say.
Yeah. Well, all right. What do we think? Best episodes ever?
Oh no.
Just
We had one great episode, one okay episode, and two stinkers.
yeah. Up to you to decide which one's which.
You gotta admit though, Sub Rosa has achieved cult classic.
Yeah,
in TNG.
I
It has
guess.
become a meme, yeah. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
It's beyond famous. It is now infamous.
infamous.
Well, next week we will be talking about, or not next week, next episode, Eye of the Beholder, Genesis, Journey's End, and Firstborn. Genesis, directed by Gates McFadden.
And terrible. But
Oh no!
I already watched one ahead. Eye of the Beholder. Oh man.
We're
Oh,
almost
really?
there. We're almost there.
almost.
We're so close,
You
you
got to
guys.
slog through a few more guys. And
Genesis is a Brandon Braga as well. So
yes.
Well, Journey's End is a Ronald D. Moore. Is that any good?
it's great.
Oh, okay.
It's
okay.
great.
Well,
Can't tell if he's being sarcastic.
No, I legit.
okay.
love
Jake
that
doesn't
episode.
lie in regards to Star Trek. He doesn't ever lie. Well, thanks everybody for listening to this episode or watching if you're watching on YouTube. Like and subscribe, comment. I don't know what all those things.
All the
Smash that like button.
Bow.
Okay, well, we'll be back. And until then, we will continue to go where no one has gone before, but a lot of people have gone before. Thanks, my friends. Goodbye.